Okay, let's dive in. Today we're getting into something really fundamental to so many great meals, pasta shapes.
That's right. And we're looking at this article you shared, which gets into some of the most popular types.
Hmm.
But crucially, it asks why specific shapes seem to work best with certain sauces or dishes.
Exactly. So our mission here is to really pull out the key insights from this source, the thinking behind the pairings, the physics, maybe the geometry of it all.
Mm.
Because sure, you could just throw any old sauce on any pasta shape, right? But there's clearly a reason there are, what, like 350 different kinds out there?
Oh, absolutely.
Choosing the right shape, apparently, can really elevate the whole thing.
Yeah, it's all about how the sauce clings, how the pasta, hold on to other bits. It's all texture experience.
Mhm.
It's definitely not just random.
So we're going to dig into what makes some of these popular shapes tick based on this source and understand their sort of perfect matches.
Exactly that. Straight from the analysis in the article.
Fantastic. Okay, let's get into it. Consulting the source. Where does it suggest we start this noodle journey?
Well, the source kicks off with one of the most delicate ones.
Yeah.
Capellini. You probably know it as angel hair.
Ah, angel hair.
Right. It's incredibly fine. The article describes it as typically only 0.85 to 0.92 millimeters thick. Really, really thin.
Wow, that is thin. Angel hair.
Mmm.
It almost seems like it just fall apart. The source must give a pretty specific reason for its pairing them.
It does, yeah.
Hmm.
Because it's so thin and, well, fragile, the article strongly recommends pairing it with light sauces.
Light sauces, okay.
Think like simple oil-based sauces, maybe butter sauces, or very light tomato sauces. It actually makes the point that these fine noodles would kind of disappear if you put them in, say, a heavy meat ragu.
Disappear. Okay, that makes sense. So the insight is about balance. The pasta is so delicate, it needs a sauce that won't just bury it.
Exactly.
A heavy, chunky sauce would just completely dominate the texture. It sounds like the strands are meant to be just lightly coated, not smothered or expected to hold up anything heavy.
Precisely. The whole surface area to volume thing is just really different compared to chunkier shapes.
Yeah.
It needs just a minimal coating.
Got it. Okay. So from that almost ethereal thinness to maybe something with a bit more twist, what's next?
Next up is fusilli. Yeah, the one everyone knows by its spiral shape. The source calls it out for giving any dish a surprising twist.
The corkscrew.
Right.
Right. I always think of fusilli as being good at holding on to things. What does the source say about that? Its pairing power.
Well, the article highlights that it's remarkably versatile. It says it pairs well with almost any sauce.
Almost any. Okay.
And it specifically mentions it as a great base for, like, a summer pasta salad. That spiral shape isn't just for show, it's functional.
Functional how? Does the source explain how the spiral actually helps it deal with almost any sauce?
It implies it, yeah. The grooves, the curves of the spiral,
Yeah.
they're excellent at trapping things.
Ah.
Inch bits of sauce, little pieces of vegetables, chunks of meat in a salad. It gives you these little pockets and surfaces for ingredients to kind of nestle into.
Right.
So each bite is potentially more flavorful, more textured.
Ah, okay, so unlike capellini, which just wants that light coating, fusilli's structure is actively designed to capture sauce and bits, like a tiny little net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Let's move from the twist to the ribbon fettuccine.
Fettuccine. Yeah, described as a classic ribbon-like flat pasta. The article presents it as a firm pasta to hold up different kinds of sauces, and it points right to Alfredo as its most famous pairing.
Fettuccine Alfredo, yeah, that totally makes sense. That's a really rich, thick, creamy sauce. So is the idea here that the width and the firmness of the ribbon give it the structure it needs?
And the surface area?
That seems to be the key takeaway. That flat, pretty wide surface gives plenty of area for a thick sauce like Alfredo to really cling to, without just sliding off.
Wow.
And because it's firm, it won't just collapse under the weight or the richness of that sauce. It gives you a satisfying bite.
Like a sturdy little highway for cream sauce.
Oh, okay.
And isn't there a close relative that often gets paired differently? Linguine? Exactly. The source describes linguine as having thin, flat noodles too, but it notes its thickness is sort of halfway between spaghetti and fettuccine. So still a ribbon, just a more slender one.
Right, less highway, more like a country lane maybe. So since it's thinner than fettuccine, what does the source suggest for linguine? What's its special pairing?
The article specifically says linguine is best for complementing seafood dishes and clam-based sauces.
Seafood and clam sauce. It feels very specific. Why do you think the source links that particular slightly thinner ribbon to seafood? Is it about the delicacy of the ingredients again?
It really seems that way. The thinner, maybe less substantial ribbon of linguine probably gives enough surface for a sauce, often oil or white wine based, not super thick to cling to,
Okay.
but without overpowering the delicate flavor or texture of the seafood itself. Like a wide, thick fettuccine might just feel too heavy next to light clams or shrimp.
Okay, that clicks. So, capellini for barely there sauces, fusilli for grabbing everything, fettuccine for thick, creamy stuff, and linguine for more delicate things, often seafood. Every ribbon shape has its job. Okay, what about the next one? The one shaped like a little bow tie.
Farfalle. The bow tie pasta, exactly. The source definitely agrees on the shape, calling it fun-shaped.
It is fun, but, beyond looking nice, what makes farfalle useful? What's its function?
Well, the article notes it's versatile, says it can be used with most recipes that call for a short pasta type.
Right.
But it does highlight that it pairs especially well with vegetable and meat dishes.
I'm picturing it. That little pinched bit in the middle and the wings on the sides. Does the source suggest how that shape actually helps with vegetables and meat?
It doesn't spell out the mechanics quite as much for this one, but the structure itself kind of suggests it. That pinched center and the slightly ruffled edges of the wings, they could act like little scoops or cradles for smaller ingredients.
Oh, yeah.
Like peas or chopped veggies or minced meat. It seems like it has these built-in features to interact with solid pieces.
Like mini scoops and cradles, yeah. Perfect for getting little bits in every bite. Okay. And speaking of shapes that hold things inside, let's talk about the king of kids' pasta, macaroni.
Macaroni. Oh, yeah. The source absolutely confirms its status, highlights it as a favorite among kids, and obviously the crowd's favorite when it comes to mac and cheese. It's that classic curved tube.
And what makes that tube shape so perfect for mac and cheese, according to the source? Is there a specific reason?
Yes, the article emphasizes that this tube shape is best for any melty cheese or cream sauce. The crucial insight it gives is that the hollow space inside the tube actually gets filled up by the sauce.
Ah, that internal cavity is the secret weapon. So the sauce isn't just coating the outside.
Yeah.
It's filling up the inside, too, making each piece this dense little delivery system for creamy, cheesy goodness. It's designed to be completely flooded with sauce.
Exactly. The sauce gets trapped inside, giving you that burst of flavor and richness when you chew. And, on a similar note, but with different typical pairings, there's penne.
Right, another classic tube shape. Shorter, though, usually with those angled ends and sometimes ridges, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does the source tell us about penne?
The article describes penne as hollow, tube-shaped short pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And it notes that penne is ideal for all kinds of pairings, such as meat sauces and delicate creams.
Oh, that's interesting. So the source says penne works with both meat sauces and delicate creams, unlike macaroni, which really links specifically to that melty cheese or cream scenario.
Yeah.
Does the source suggest why penne might be more versatile? Could it be the ridges that some have? Or something else?
The source doesn't explicitly mention the ridges, actually. It focuses more on the hollow tube-shaped aspect itself. But the description suggests its overall shape, maybe the size of the tube opening.
Yeah.
The angled cut allows it to capture chunkier sauces like a meat ragu, both inside and out, while still providing enough surface area and structure for lighter creams to cling effectively too. It seems to strike a balance between internal volume and external surface, making it more adaptable.
So it's like a more robust, adaptable tube compared to macaroni, capable of handling heavier stuff, but still works with creams. Huh. Fascinating how these slight variations in shape make such a big difference. What's next? Are those the little ear shapes?
Orecchie, yeah. The article mentions the name literally means little ears because of that concave sort of ear-like shape. And the shape is really presented as its main functional feature.
Little ears. Okay, so how does that concave shape translate into its ideal pairing according to the source?
The source highlights that its depression catches up with the vegetables or anything that is combined with it, and it proclaims it the best carrier for stronger flavor.
Best carrier for stronger flavor. Wow, that's quite a claim. So that little cup shape is specifically designed to scoop up and hold not just sauce, but chunkier bits, like maybe more intensely flavored things. Broccoli rabe, sausage, herbs. It concentrates the flavor.
That really seems to be the core insight, yes. The cup acts like a perfect tiny bowl. It captures small, potent pieces and concentrates the sauce that goes with them.
Right.
So when you eat orecchiette, You're not just getting pasta and sauce separately, you're getting this deliberate little package of sauce and the key ingredients in each ear, which really amplifies the impact of strong flavors.
The shape is actively curating each bite. That's brilliant design. Okay, two more to go, I think. What comes after orecchiette?
Pappardelle.
Pappardelle, ah yes, those really wide, flat noodles. They look so substantial.
They are. The source notes, they're similar to fettuccine in being flat, but it emphasizes pappardelle is much wider.
Much wider, okay.
And while maybe not as common everywhere as spaghetti, the article says it's popular for a hearty Bolognese dish. It also mentions the name comes from papare, which apparently means to gobble up.
Gobble up a hearty Bolognese. The name itself is a clue. So the width and just the sheer substance of pappardelle make it ideal for a really rich, thick meat sauce like Bolognese.
Precisely. That very broad, flat surface provides the maximum area for a thick, clingy sauce packed with meat and tomatoes to really adhere to.
Yeah.
And it's substantial enough in texture and size to stand up to and balance out a heavy, slow-cooked sauce without getting lost.
Yeah.
A delicate sauce on this shape would probably just feel completely overwhelmed.
It needs a sauce that's just as bold and substantial as the noodle itself.
Okay.
And finally, we arrive at what the source calls maybe the most universally recognized shape, even if maybe not the absolute most popular globally.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti, yeah, described simply as a round, long, thin noodle. The article kind of muses that it's famous probably because meatballs and spaghetti is a classic pasta dish which almost everyone has tasted.
Yeah. It does state that spaghetti combines perfectly with a lot of flavors.
Spaghetti and meatballs, yeah, the icon, defines pasta for so many people. The source says it goes with a lot of flavors. It doesn't give quite as specific a why based on shape as it did for, say, orecchiette's cup or pappardelle's width. But what can we sort of infer from the source about spaghetti's design making it versatile?
Well, the shape itself is a simple, consistent cylinder, right? Long, thin strands. It offers a pretty good balance of surface area without being super wide or having complex internal bits like tubes or spirals.
Okay.
This relative simplicity in its length seemed to make it adaptable. It gives enough surface for medium-bodied sauces like your standard marinara or a simple pesto to cling evenly. And the length makes it great for twirling.
Ah, yeah, the twirling.
Which is its own way of gathering up and concentrating the sauce. It's sort of a versatile workhorse. Maybe doesn't excel at one single type of sauce, quite like the more specialized shapes do, but it performs pretty well with a whole lot of them.
Okay, wow, so we've really journeyed through this source then. From the super delicate capellini that just wants light sauces so it doesn't vanish.
Right.
Through shapes like fusilli and orecchiette, specifically designed to capture ingredients. Tubes like macaroni and penne, built to hold sauce inside. Ribbons like fettuccine and linguine, suited for different sauce densities. The really hearty pappardelle for big, bold flavors. And finally, the versatile classic, spaghetti.
And the clear takeaway, reading through this article, is that for every single one of these popular shapes, there's a deliberate reason, a functional design element behind it. Whether it's the thickness, the hollowness, the surface area, those unique curves. Something makes it pair optimally with specific kinds of sauces or dishes. It's not just arbitrary. It's like culinary engineering.
Absolutely. It really drives home the point that the shape isn't just decoration. It's intrinsically tied to the eating experience, how the pasta interacts with everything else on the plate.
Yeah, it's about creating that harmony, right? Between the noodle and the sauce, making sure neither one overpowers the other, that they work together to deliver flavor and texture properly.
So, okay, thinking about this knowledge from the source,
Yeah.
next time you're standing in the pasta aisle or looking at a menu, maybe pause for a second. Look at the shape. Think about the sauce. Based on its design, is it thin, wide, hollow, ridged? Is it a cup, a spiral? Does that shape seem to align with the characteristics of the sauce in a way that, well, makes sense now?
Are you maybe pairing a sauce that needs trapping in cavities with a flat noodle it can't really cling to? Or vice versa?
Consider how that shape is meant to scoop or cling or hold or maybe just provide a delicate base.
Yeah, think about its job.
So here's something to chew on based purely on what this source suggests. Given that it details so many distinct pasta types, each with these specific pairing suggestions tied directly to their unique physical forms, their dimensions, internal spaces, external shapes, could understanding these unique qualities mean there's actually, truly, a perfect pasta shape out there for every single conceivable kind of sauce or dish imaginable.